1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 bracketed shots of each room. I was lucky in this situation, there's only 2 rooms, and then I did right outside. So you're going to ask, well, why did you bracket the photos? And this goes back to, oh, okay, I can do that. Sorry about that. Vince. I like that name. My name's Chad, man. So whenever I hear a name that's better than Chad, I like to call it out and say, man, I'm really jealous that you have a nice, good name. Chad's pretty lame. Uh, Anyways, so you're going to ask, well, why did you bracket these photos? And it's a really good question. There are times where bracketing is needed or can help, and there's times where bracketing you don't necessarily need to. And honestly, in this situation, I probably didn't need to bracket these photos. You can see they come through fisheye here because the lighting was pretty, there wasn't a lot of contrast. The lighting was pretty even throughout this whole building, or this studio, excuse me. But I wanted to be safe. I wanted to have as much detail throughout the entire exposure that I could. And since it's such a static location, I was able to do the bracketed photos. Now, there's different ways you can do this through the camera, the Theta Z camera. I just did through, like I said, through the app, and I set up the manual exposures, which is pretty easy to do. And then I think I have like a 5-second timer. I hit the shutter button and I went around the corner to hide because obviously you're going to be in the shot here. They do have a plugin if you're not doing, I mean, I guess you could do it if you were doing bracketed, but if you're just doing a normal shot, they have a plugin that will do the front camera first and then give you a couple seconds to move in front of the camera and do the back camera. So then you don't have to either hide or get out of the way. Like I did a tour, a real estate tour, and I was outside and I was getting a shot and I couldn't go anywhere to hide. So I kind of just placed myself in a spot in the picture where I could easily paint myself out. It was pretty easy. But anyways, so you can see I have 4 shots here. You can see that they all come through with the fisheye look. So the first thing that you do when you're in Lightroom, you're dealing with multiple exposures. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna shift click, I'm gonna right click, and I'm gonna hit photo merge HDR. And again, let me bring this over because it's on the other screen. This right here is through Lightroom only. And there are like Photo Matrix is really, really good. I know there's a plugin. I just prefer to try to keep everything in this location if I can. So now here we go. We're gonna go no ghosting. Ghosting, so you don't want auto align either. And you're gonna say, well, that doesn't make sense. Well, with how the camera works, with the fisheye and stitching, don't ask me why, but for some reason, when you're merging multiple photos, it throws off the stitching if you auto align them. This is not my office. My studio is around the corner from this lady. She's a tattoo artist, right around the corner in the building that I'm in, the Village Arts Factory. So let's see here. We have no auto align. I don't ever do auto settings, and I'm not deghosting because there shouldn't be any moving parts. And ghosting would be if you're doing something and there's slight movement of something, and it will attempt to fix that with the deghosting amount. Now you got to be careful with that, especially if you have a lot of contrast and low light, because it can bring out a lot of weird artifacts within that spot. So like, for example, I'll just put it on low. You saw for some reason it wants to do some right here. It's probably because of the flare of the light. It's kind of reading it wrong. But I don't need, none of this was moving. Camera wasn't moving. So I'm not going to put any there. So now we just hit merge. Now this is, you know, doing it one step at a time. I can go through and bulk do these, have them all do it and merge individually, but I just want to show you guys how it's done in a, you know, individually rather than bulk. So here we go. We have 4 other shots. Oops. You can see them all coming through fisheye. So the other thing I wanted to say was when I did these, and this goes back to my earlier class that I did, when you're doing multiple exposures, you do not want to touch your aperture, right? You want to keep your aperture exactly where it's at and where you want it. So in this situation, I think I'm at a 5.6. Yeah, I'm at a 5.6 as you see up here. ISO as low as you possibly can, especially on these cameras, because it's only a 1-inch sensor. So the higher you go on these 1-inch sensors, it really shows their limitations. Well, it's a lot. I did not learn this in college. Funny fact about my college stay at Michigan State, I had a great time, met my wife, learned a lot of stuff. But in terms of photography, videography, cinematography, I learned more on the job than anything. And I learned a lot of this through other people teaching me, watching videos, trial and error, and I'm still perfecting this kind of stuff. So 5.6 because, and why, well, Chad, why did you pick 5.6? Well, I picked 5.6 as an aperture because I wanted more depth in this shot. Okay. The reason why I didn't use that, I told you there is a plugin. It's called Dual Fisheye Lens, and you can bracket, and it'll auto bracket, so you don't have to individually put everything in. It'll automatically do it, which is really nice. But the problem with that is with how it's currently written, or at least how it was written a month ago, and he might have updated it. Your aperture was stuck at 2.8. And when you're doing real estate or anything like this, a 2.8 aperture is not very good. Now, it might be good to help brighten it up if it's really dark, but what are you going to get in that situation? You're going to get these things right here in focus, and you're going to lose a lot of focus detail on this back wall. Okay? You might get this right here nice and focus, but then over here, you're going to start losing those details in where the focus is dropping off. So that's why a 5.6, you could probably go 4-stop because these aren't too, this room's not too big. But in this situation, I went 5.6 just to cover my bases. And you can see, I mean, this is just one file. There's a little noise up in here, just a little bit. But in terms of a 1-inch sensor, I mean, this is really darn good. Considering it's not a DSLR, it's not a mirrorless camera. So anyways, let's go back here. We're going to click this guy right here. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to right click. We're going to photo merge HDR. Remember, when you're doing these, no auto align. I'm not going to go, so I'm just going to merge. Create a stack too is nice because it keeps everything nice and clean. You can see at the bottom of the screen. Oh, you can't see at the bottom of the screen because of my camera. Let me see if I can. Oh, I don't want to do that. Whoa. Well, I'm not going to deal with that right now, but I don't know if you can kind of see underneath. However, see these 4 photos right here? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong thing. These 4 photos right here, when I merge them, are all going to stack onto one. How do you get the lights on the left picture to be less blown out? Okay, so the reason why the lights on that picture look blown out is because, so let's go back here. Let's get out of here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's delete this one. Delete. It's all because I took multiple exposures, right? So this is more true to what I would normally take. Okay? So you want to take a properly exposed photo. You want to take highlights blown out to get the shadow details down here, okay, and where the shadows would be. And then you want to take, here's another one that's kind of a little lower, and then one that is underexposed to bring those lights down. So that way you can bring them together and you can get all those details, okay? So we're going to go back here. Let's reset. Let's make sure all these are reset here. Actually, let's just do this. Let's go back, go back, go back. Hold on. I want to make sure. Because talking, I'm forgetting some things. I want to make sure that I'm not. Okay, let's restart here. So we got 4, right click, photo merge, HDR. So I am seeing some weird shadowy things going on here on the walls. I'm not really sure what that is, to be honest with you. I've never seen that. So we're kind of learning together. There's some weird stuff going on there, and I don't know what that is. So for now, let's keep the ghosting on and see what it does. I don't know. There might be some kind of pulsating. I think maybe these fluorescents pulse, which is creating that issue. Because I didn't see it in this one. No. Okay. Let's go here and let's do these. HDR. Let's see if there's any ghosting here. See, again, I'm still kind of learning as I go on some of these. This is a little different than just doing a home. So there's some ghosting here, which I'm assuming that maybe it's because these fluorescent lights are giving some kind of weird flicker. So you can see that helped. I don't really see that anymore. That's interesting. All right, so now we go in here, and now that we have this is the file. This is all 4 of those photos stacked into one. Now I can go in and I can do whatever I want. I can make any color I want. There's many ways you can do this. You can set the color balance by a white on the wall. I would tell you, if you can't eyeball it, to do that, and you can use it as a base, because like right now that's nice, but it's a little warm. I'm sorry, a little cool. So I might warm it up a little bit. Green. That's not too bad right there. All right, so now we go in and we can do our adjustments. I usually pop the vibrancy, maybe bring up the clarity. So the difference between my landscape stuff and stuff like this, like homes and stuff, is I won't pop the clarity as much. I'll probably pop the clarity to about a 10. We'll leave the contrast as is, and now we'll play with the shadows, which there aren't really any shadows, but you can see we're blowing out the highlights. But you'll see that because we stack these photos, what we can do here now, right? We can bring these levels down to where they're not blown out anymore. So we're still getting a little bit of a weird, and it might be because of the, let's reset really quick. It might be because of the glow of the light. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to pop out, and we're going to do this. And go all the way back, because I'd like to see what happens. Actually, we didn't need to do all that. Let's unstack. I want to do it again with a little more deghosting. So we're going to delete this file, because see, if you see here, I don't know what that is. It looks like it's some kind of cast over from the highlights. I think it is the flicker from the light, and to my knowledge, this camera does not have an anti-flicker. So let's see what happens if we put a medium on. So you can see how that filled in there. I think that's probably exactly what it is. Let's try that. I'm very cautious when it comes to the motion blur, or the deghosting, excuse me. Yeah, so you can see it almost has completely gone away. So again, things that you just have to do until you don't really know until you do it. Because when I'm there, like, some of that flicker you can't see with your own eyes. I think we're about a 46. All right, so clarity, bump up the vibrance, and let's see if we still got that. So no, that's about completely gone, and I'm okay with that. Again, you have to understand what camera you're working with, right? This is a 1-inch, two 1-inch sensors. The quality is going to be really good, but it's not like I put on the Sony A7 III or the R and I did a bunch of individual shots and stacked them. You have to make some concessions here. So we're looking pretty good. We'll bring the highlights down a little bit. Shadows, I'll bring up the shadows a little bit just to get that histogram a little closer to where we want it. Come up here, we'll do some masking of the details. If you hold down Alt, it'll show you the black and white, which I'm not really sure why it's not. No, it's because the computer is being slow. It shouldn't be, so this is a brand new computer. I usually go 70. We'll go there for now. There we go. So here you can kind of dial in what details you want to see. And depending on the camera and what you are dealing with, noise and whatnot, you can bring that up. So to really hit the spots that you want, but not where you might have any issues with noise. So let's go right about there for now. We're looking good here. So now we'll go through and see if there's any weird chromatic abrasions or anything like that. I don't really see anything that's really jumping out to me. Okay, so now, before I go on to the next one, I do video editing as well, and at some point we're going to do some of that on a stream. So now that we have this file basically where I want it, this is the cool thing about this camera, is it has a Lightroom preset. So I can right click, I can go edit in, and this is where I talk about the relationship between Photoshop and Lightroom, where if I have a photo that I need something to do with done in Photoshop, I can right click, go edit in, and go right to Photoshop and edit that file. Here, as you can see, I'm silly, and because this is my new computer, I forgot to put in the editing program. So we're going to quickly pull that up. Theta Z Lightroom plugin. Let's download that right now. I apologize for the wait. So it's just on the Theta Z. I'll bring it over. It's just on their website down here. Stitching program plugin for Photoshop and Lightroom Classic. So we're going to download that. We're going to open that. I'm going to look at what you're saying in 1 second. completely forgot about this plugin in terms of downloading it. So let me go in here really quick. Preferences, custom, choose. Where did I download that? Let me go back here really quick. Where was that at? Prop it over here. Oh, I can't believe I forgot to do this. My bad. My bad. Okay, so it's programs. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I've always had a Windows desktop for gaming, but I was always on the Apple bandwagon. I have an iPhone. I love it. And I still like Apple a lot and their products, but the more stable Windows 10 has become, the more I've enjoyed it. To the point where so I have a Windows laptop. My wife has a Surface laptop and my daughter has a Surface laptop. So we've kind of gone all in. All right, so I think I found it. So I think I got to go right click, edit in, preferences, because it's not set up. We will choose. So it was in program files. Right there. Choose that. Okay, so now no compression. Okay. So now if we right click and we hit edit in, you should see it right there. Done. Okay. So I want to do edit a copy with Lightroom adjustments is what we're going to do. Copy file options. We can look in here and we can adjust anything. I usually go high. I probably didn't need to go 16-bit or 300 DPI, but that's just what I do. I've always found, and it's funny because Brandon always told me how overpriced Apple computers were, and I told him, I'm like, look, I'm not disagreeing with you, but what I would tell you is you're paying for the build quality, you're paying for the security and longevity. Like my 2010 MacBook Pro lasted until I think 2018. I think I had it for 8 years. I was running that thing, and it was still going, right? But now, when I was looking at it, I'm like, okay, I can get an MSI laptop, the Stealth for I think it's G65 Stealth for $2,000, and it probably had 2 times the power of the comparable MacBook at that price. To get that kind of power in the MacBook Pro, I would have to spend probably $3,300. And now that these Windows laptops are lasting longer, I'm like, let's save the money and let's see what this thing can do. And my MSI, man, that thing has been a workhorse. I've really, really loved it. All right, so here it is. And honestly, once I get it to this stage, I have not done anything to these photos to this point. You can go in here and you can do all this kind of stuff in terms of pitch, roll. I've never had to deal with any stitching, so we're just gonna hit OK because I'm happy with it. And let me see, it's there, it's done. And you can see, for the most part, there's no stitching errors within this photo at all. You know, I see something on a wall, I don't like that, so we're gonna get rid of it. Because this is the file that I'm going to take into Photoshop. So there's a little bit of... I'm going to go back. We're going to get out of this because I want to check something really quick. I want to go here and I want to see. I didn't put any. See, this is where I'm talking and I forget. So my RAM right now is 16. Well, on my laptop, it's 16. On this desktop, it's 16, but I have 2 spots where I'm going to put 2 more in and get 32. And it's a long story about why I didn't get the 32. I'll just tell you that I was an idiot and I didn't pull the trigger when I was supposed to. And when I needed this, I wanted to get it as fast as I could. And the only same day computers available through iBuyPower were 16 gigs. That was the only thing available. But it's got 2 slots open. So I'm eventually going to put 2 more in. Okay, so since we're here, before we go any further, you talked about reflection. Which reflection are you talking about? You talking about, like, I'm not, like, if there's a reflection here, as long as it's not me or the tripod, I don't care what it is. It's fine. It's natural. This is the same way. I put the tripod in a spot where you cannot see me or the tripod. This is fine. This is the room. No problem. Now, if there's some weird, like, I dressed it up a little bit. Like, I put the trash can there. I think that she had a couple things laying around. I moved some stuff around. She had a couple papers here. We moved the papers. If it were there and I didn't like it, I could always try to get it out. So we're going to get rid of some of this, a little bit of noise. We're going to put about a 10 on there. And see, so I also want to make a point here is the more, so I really like the dual lens, the dual fisheye plugin for this, because I've done it and it takes 9 photos and it stacks them all together. And the dynamic range is unbelievable when you do that. This is the real first time that I've used that. Really quick, the downside is this is a 2.8 aperture, okay? This is the first time I've done this with the internal app doing the manual bracketing. So I feel like there's a little more noise in here than I've had in the past, but it's not terrible. Okay, so now that we've done that, now let's go back. Let's go here. Let's open up the Stitcher. Let's go here. Yeah, I'm okay with that. As long as it's not, as long as it's the room, it's fine. There was, so for example, there was a house that I did a tour for, and the bathroom was so small that the only way to get the shot was to have the tripod and the camera in the mirror. But I placed it in a spot within the mirror where I went back and I was able to brush it out, the healing brush through Photoshop. So unfortunately, this camera, the Theta Z, let me see if I can, where did I put it? This camera does not, this camera does not have, let me see here. Right there. This camera does not have a SD card slot. It's all internal memory, which is a downside, but I did a full home and more. There's a full home and multiple other things on here, and it's still got room. So, and a lot of that home was all 9 shots per room, per angle. So you can see this is it. The 2 lenses. You plug it in here at the bottom, and it just sits on the tripod, and it takes, that's the 2 angles you get is from here. And again, this is the price point. $1,000 is pretty amazing for what you get. I was originally looking at the, I got my buttons mixed up. I was originally looking at the Matterport system, which is like a 3D scanner. and it's great, and it does everything, and you don't have to do it. There's no post production or whatever. But the problem with that is, one, you have no control over the photos, and you don't technically own it. It goes up on their website, and if you're not paying for it to be on there, you can't download them or anything. And I'll show you the program eventually when I get there. I'll show you the program that I use, 3D Vista, to create the tours. It does do video. I have yet to do video. Oh, I was going to show you too. You might like this. We're getting a little off track, but this is cool. So I'm going to show you this is another thing that I like doing with this camera, and I'm still learning. It's called the tiny planet effect. I know you've probably seen these before. And I can go over how you do this. So you can see some different shots using this camera. So this is more of the tiny planet versus this. I just like this version of it. I kind of inverted it so it would show the kind of like the pathways going away from you. A couple different. So here it's just flipped, right? So the sky's flipped. So the bottom is the top and the top is the bottom. And you can do this. So you can do videos. I keep looking this way. So you can do videos and then put it in, and you should. I haven't. Let me preface this by saying I have not done this with video yet, but I know that you can manipulate the video to do something like this. So here's another one, really cool. So you see the difference in when the light, right? I always tell people light is so key in photography, changing how the scene feels and looks. This is basically the same spot. It's exactly the same spot, but just different lighting. So that and that. So this is at my house, front yard. So I did this one. So I watched some videos on how to do it, and a lot of them suggest for the tiny planet effect to do like a square. I did a couple that were more oval just to see how it looked. I can't tell which one I like better. These are the first ones I did. This is at my house. So kind of cool. Yeah, but I mean considering oh yeah, I have posted some. So considering like you could be standing right here. So the tripod was right here. The tripod was literally where my mouse is. And in post I just got rid of it, but this could be you standing here looking up holding the camera. I mean, it's that cool. Um so anyways, a really cool effect. And I was going to tell you too, Vince, that this camera's great and it's $1,000. There are other cameras like the Insta360s that are very similar. I actually think the Insta360 is a little cheaper, and I think it might do video a little better. When I was doing research, this camera was better for photos, but I think the Insta360 versions might be better for video. You'd have to do a little research on that. So again, so now did I do it again? I did do it again, right? I can't remember which one. Okay, so here we are. This is the shot. There's a little smudge there. So I don't know. You didn't see this. You weren't in the chat when I did this the other day. So you can do this in Photoshop. Photoshop spot removal is much smarter, content aware. This is just an easy way of doing it. There's a lot of space here for Lightroom to be a dummy and try to figure it out. Sometimes it might be dumb and go like that. You just move it around. This is an easy wall to find a spot that'll match, and we're done there. There's a little bit of a flare, but I'm gonna see that flare right there. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's let the computer think for a sec. Where did that flare go? It's like right there. zoom out a little bit. Why can't I zoom out? What's going on here? So it's like right there. So I'm going to go like that. There we go. So now that I've done it, see how I kind of went over the line? See? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to make this smaller. And see how now it's gotten a little smarter? And so now you still have kind of a line. It's a little off. So we're going to move it down a little bit. And yeah, that's gone. So yeah, I mean, I feel pretty happy about this shot without taking too long. I don't care about that. Without taking too long, we're going to do this. We're going to go here. So you're going to say, well, Chad, you have a tripod in the shot. So there's two ways of doing it with this programs that I use. 3D Vista, the program that I use for tours, has a tripod cap that you can put on. Like when they look down, they'll see it can be the 3D Vista logo, it could be your logo, it could be the real estate's logo, it could be like this branded Barbie's logo. And I think she sent it to me. But for now, let me just show you how this works. So if you go edit in and you go to Photoshop, we'll bring this up. We're going to edit a copy. Once this comes up, I'm going to bring light. I'm going to bring it over here. Okay. So now I'm going to show you a fun trick here. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to image rotation, and I'm going to flip it 180 degrees. I'm going to go to filter, and I'm going to go to distort, and I'm going to go polar coordinates. Now these are the steps that you use to do Tiny Planet to a certain extent. There's a couple other things you need to do, but this is how you get the Tiny Planet effect. So this is what rectangular to polar, hit OK. So now we almost kind of have the Tiny Planet, right? So now I can zoom in and I can use the brush, the healing brush, to completely get rid of this. So now you have to be careful when you're taking these photos, and depending on what you have on the ground will make it easier or harder for you to do this step. I did that house I did the back porch, forgive me, the deck, and it had all, has the lines of the wood of the deck boards. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll just fix it or I'll put a logo on it. Well, I went in, and even through Photoshop's, how smart Photoshop is, it was still a pain in the butt to get everything to line up. So in that situation, I did the best I could. If somebody's going to be panning down and looking down and going, oh my gosh, that deck board is a little off, I was like, whatever. The other solution is just to get a logo and put it on there through the app. So the Tiny Planet that I took, I ran away and I hid. If I was holding it, actually, you know what? For that Tiny Planet, no, I was actually standing. Let me go back to that shot. I'll show you exactly what happened. So I was standing right here. I'm able to look at the photo through the app, and I kind of went down like this, small, where I was all in grass, took the photo. Once I got it to this point, in Photoshop, I just did the healing brush and I completely removed myself from the photo. Again, some things are going to be harder, easier said than done. When I did the 3D tour of that house. Actually, you know what? I wonder if I can just bring that house up. I'm not going to do that right now. But I was outside. I was doing an outside shot, and every single outside shots, I can't run away, right? So I just found a spot within the frame that I knew that if it was concrete or grass where I could put myself and I could easily paint myself out. So painting yourself out is really simple, especially in this situation. Spot healing is the easiest way to do it. Content aware. Hit the bracket buttons to make it bigger. And then you just do this, and it's smart, and it should go away. Now you're like, oh, okay, well, this is where it gets tricky, right? So you have these weird spots. So let's just see how smart it can be. So see, it's smart, but it's a little dumb at other times. So now I'm just showing you what it can do. So we're gonna go back because I don't like that corner. So if we come from this direction and maybe we make it smaller, we can paint out some of this stuff. Now here's another way of doing it. And this is just like the weird color cast from the tripod. Yeah, they probably were. But honestly, man, I to get angles sometimes, and what I do, I got to be laying on the ground. I don't really care. The other thing is healing brush. You can sample the floor. So I'm going to open the bracket up a little more. Right about there. And I can, let's say I want to sample this. Hold down the Alt button, click it, and now you can see as I move it around, I have that part of the floor. And see how it's, see the triangle or the plus sign? It's giving me that part of the floor. Oh, I think my dad's here. I will be right back in a second. Still messing up my darn buttons on which one is which. I'm back. Sorry about that. My dad came by. He, where the heck did my drink go? Ugh. Yeah, we have a big dog. I got a 150-pound Saint Bernard. She's laying right behind me right now. Okay, how's my focus look? Focused on my face? Okay. All right, so now here we are. Going back to this, I have the floor, Alt-click, and now I can paint in. So here, it's like what part? So do we want it to be light? See how you can kind of paint it in a little bit? So I'm pretty happy with that. And that's it. So now, you go here. You go back to polar coordinates. You put it back to rectangle. Go back to image rotation. We flip it back. And then there you have it. And it's done. And there's your photo. I'd like to quickly go through this and get these done. So we can see. I want to figure out this one. All right. So what I'm going to do is I want it to look pretty similar. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to click back and I'm going to hit previous and it's going to match the settings I just had. Remember I did that spot. That's why. There we go. Sorry about that. I did that spot removal, which we don't need anymore. Where is this spot? Did I not have a spot removal on here? I don't see it. I think that might have been the other version. Okay, so here we are, right? So I have everything like this. The highlights, this was a little more blown out, so we're going to bring them down a little bit. We'll bring up the shadows a little bit. Actually, we don't really need the shadows as high. We're going to bring the shadows down a little bit more. And again, this is the situation where the outside wasn't exactly how we wanted it, but it is what it is. It's not going to take away from the tour from this angle. I did want to show that there was that window you could see through. So I will tell you that I think I like the dual fisheye plugin in terms of quality. And I need to see if they've updated to have a different aperture. Okay, so this is done. So we're going to go here. We're going to right click. We're going to go edit in. We're going to open up my bubbly. I can't tell if my voice is too loud. Not sponsored by Bubbly, but I love Bubblies. Bring this over here. Again, I'm not even, I don't even really need to do anything here. And until it proves me wrong, I'm not even going to deal with it. I'm not even going to look. So there that is. And like I've told you before, we're going to right click. We're going to edit in Photoshop. This is the new microphone thing. I got the Yeti Blue, what is it, X? It's one of their newer ones. I'll tell you, it's so hard to find anything in stock nowadays just because of COVID. It's crazy. All right, so edit, image, rotation, filter, distort, polar, flip it, just like that. We're going to zoom in. There's our tripod. I'm going to do spot healing, content aware. And we're just going to paint around it. Paint inside. Okay, you can see it's smart, but it's got issues. Gone. Completely gone. And this is the situation I was talking about on the last stream. Like, I was able to get rid of that bird in that shot at Grand Haven. But in a situation where you feel Lightroom isn't doing a good enough job, Photoshop, it's just so much smarter, so much better. And those are the reasons why, in what I do, I use Photoshop. So this is done. Let's zoom out. Let's flip it back. Apologize, I haven't done this in a while, so some of my clicks are a little off. Plus, I'm using the other screen. And there's that one. That one's done. Go back into Lightroom. We'll go to this one. Now, I am going to, excuse me, do our previous, but the white balance is going to be different, right? Because look at all this outside light. So we're going to go here. That's white. That sign is a white sign. I know that. Looks pretty decent to me. Might cool it off a little bit. And you can see I'm going to kind of reset a couple things just to see where everything's at. So we're really good on shadows. No shadow issues. We got some highlights. Click on that so we can see them. So you can see there's the highlights. But because I stacked these photos. Oh yeah? $50? Well, the reason why I got this mic was this didn't feel as reliable, and it's kind of in the way. And I was also thinking of a different way to use my headphones. And honestly, now that I think about it, I don't even really need headphones on right now because I'm not listening to anything. But I like how everything's muted. So there might be something, yeah. So we'll go into that. But you can see, if you click on this, you can see where they're blown out. I can because I've stacked these photos, I have a lot more room to bring these babies down. And this is kind of how I do real estate photography. I'm actually doing a shoot on Monday. And when I come back and edit, I will stream that so you guys can see how I bracket those photos. And I bring them in and just with like 5 shots bracketed, how much leeway you can get and maintain such detail. Now that's with the Sony a7 III, so it's a much better camera. So you can see I just want to get rid of some of that shine. Maybe bring the shadows up a little bit. And overall, I'm pretty happy about that. We'll zoom in. See if there's any issues here. So like there's a thing down on the wall. Normally I don't really care about that. It's not even that big of a deal. But just for purposes of this, we can just use Lightroom's version of spot removal and it's gone. You can't even tell it was there. So we have some weird stuff going on there. The shine, but I'm okay with that. You only see that the red is just showing the clipping. Doesn't bother me too much. It actually kind of looks cool. Looks like it was on purpose. Look at this magic. Oh, the fire exit sign. Oh, let's look. So that just looks like fall off from the light. So what we can do there is because the Lightroom's not going to be smart enough to deal with that. And I see exactly what you're talking about. What we can do is we'll take this thing into Photoshop once it's stitched together. Hi, Brandon. So once it's stitched together, there it is right there. We'll edit that baby. Wait, yeah. We'll edit that baby in Photoshop. I wonder if I just keep doing bubblies, Bubbly will sponsor me. Okay, so I'm an idiot. What's going on here? Yes, this is the one. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Now we will do our flipping and we'll do our polar coordinates and we will do that. And then we will zoom on in and we will content aware our blues away. And remember, I am still learning a lot about Photoshop. Gone. Gone. All right, so now this is blackberry bubbly. I really like mango. My wife likes the blackberry. Cherry's good. There's some weird floor issues here. We're going to see if we can. There we go. All right, so now we're going to get out of this. Now let's go over here. So there's a little bit of weirdness going on, which it's just the shadow drop off, but let's see if we can. Do a little bit here. So this is an example of five, so I have 5.6, but you can see where we start losing that depth of field. Yeah, I mean, I think that looks pretty good. I'm a big fan of the bubbly. Huge fan. And that's the thing about Photoshop, though, is the things that you can do with Photoshop is pretty amazing. I definitely don't utilize it as much as I should. But again, a lot of times I don't need to. So now I'm just going to export these out. As JPEGs. We're going to go here. Brandon, I need that extra 16 gigs of RAM. I got a lot of things running, and it's actually been pretty good. But I definitely can see. So we'll rename this one inside 1_1. Yeah, the outside shot works nice. I should show you. Yeah. But considering everything I have open right now, this thing's chugging along pretty damn smooth. Inside 2. JPEG. Outside. Save. Yes. Yep. And that's what I'm using as raw files. You can just do JPEGs if you need to, but I would tell you in every photography that I do, I always shoot raw. I do have JPEGs with it. I do the combo, so I can have both. In the case that a client might need something right away, and it's a quick transfer over, not much editing to be done. But I almost, I shouldn't say almost. I always shoot in raw. And if you're serious about it, you should shoot in raw. There's no reason why not. It gives you so much editing capabilities. It's not even funny. All right, so we're gonna get out of here. Let's save these. Oh, that's what I was gonna show you, just so you can have an idea of what we're doing here. www.schwartzyphotos.com/tours/ how did we do this, Brandon? Schwartzy? Did I do it? Woo! Okay, so here's the one I did in my studio. So this is what we're about to do to Branded Barbie's studio. Okay? We're here. We can spin around. Remember I told you about the logo or getting rid of the tripod in post? Here I put my logo. Another cool thing is you can put artificial flares in, which is kind of cool. You put these little hot spots in. Say, oh, what's this picture? Vibrant Twilight. Ooh, that's cool. You know, here pops open my website. Well, it should pop up on my website. Another one right here. It's like, oh, what's this photo? Ooh, that's cool. What's this one right here? Oh, that's cool. Go inside, and here we are. So you can so NFL films, we do not shoot raw. It's just too much data. It's too much data to transfer. So just a heads up. So when Brandon and I are at a game and he's running, like at the end of the first quarter, I give him my card. He runs it over to the media manager. They're cataloging, backing up. By the time I'm leaving the game, actually by halftime, the first quarter is already back to New Jersey. It's already been transferred and back to them. By the time I'm back to the hotel or back home after a Lions game, all my footage has already been shot, which is cool because let's say I'm shooting and something in the first quarter, maybe there was like a smudge on the lens or something on the sensor that I technically maybe can't see at the time. They can say, they can call Brandon and, hey Brandon, let Chad know that there's this issue that he needs to fix. Now that doesn't really happen that much, but that's another cool way of doing it. But the problem, the reason they switched to these Amira cameras off of film was, and this is, I don't know all the information, but I'm thinking it was because film is harder to come by now. Plus, the need for content is coming sooner and sooner through the beginning of the week, and all that film that we would shoot would have to be taken and flown back to New Jersey, right? I had a sticker on my thing. I didn't even realize it. So now everything is digital, but no, it would be too much. Now, depending on it is really fascinating. Depending on the project, we might shoot in 2K. Like I shot some promo stuff for NFL for a game or two, and that was all shot at 2K versus 1080. And yeah, an intern, I cannot highly, I can't recommend. Oh my god, I cannot recommend it enough. They have a great internship program, and to be honest with you, I want to say at the Super Bowl, I don't know the exact number, but at the last Super Bowl, over half the people that were there were all former interns, which is amazing. I did an intern there. I wish I knew about it. I don't know if they had it when I was going to school. They might have, but I didn't know. But here's the thing: like, this is the things you can do with this 3D Vista, right? People can come see my studio, look at the photos on the wall, and go back outside. So that's an example of what I was going to do and show you. So I think that's the next step, to be honest with you. So let's close out. Let's bring up. Huh, I'm not that old. By the way, Hannah's fantastic. Hannah is one of the most talented cinematographers I've ever met. She's awesome. We actually came in the same exact year. We were the first rookies ever to be at a Super Bowl. We were the first rookies to ever, our first year, be at the Super Bowl together. She's awesome. This shot right here was, where was this at? This is in California. Oh, this was Sequoia National Park. I can't remember the mountain. And really funny story with that. We There was a mountain you can climb up. It has steps and everything. It's pretty steep. But we got out of the car and mosquitoes are really bad. We started going over there. My son didn't really want to go up. So I'm like, okay, I'll just run up there really quick and grab the photo. That's like a death sentence to anybody because it's not going to be a really quick one. So my daughter came with me. We started climbing, got about halfway, and she was complaining she was tired. The mosquitoes were biting her. And I'm like, okay, well, stay here. I'm gonna run up really quick and get this shot, this one, and I'm gonna come back. Well, it took freaking forever. I felt so bad. I came back down. She was scared. She was worried. All you do for the shot, come back down, and my wife is pissed. And I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, you left us. You had the car keys. The car was locked. We have no bug spray. We have been eaten alive this entire time that you've been gone. I felt so bad, but that's what I got out of it. So I'd say that, I mean, it sucks for them, but the shot's pretty cool. That's a funny story. Things my wife has to deal with. Any tips on getting into NFL films? I mean, I know that they I know that they advertise it when it's time. If you follow them on LinkedIn, DM me or I can get your information. I can just talk to you on Discord. I can give you some people that you can connect with on LinkedIn, and they're always, when it's time, they're putting it up there and they're putting up the links. I usually see those links and I usually share them as well. The biggest the biggest advice I can give people that are trying to get in is you gotta work hard. Hard work, and it goes, without saying for everything, goes a long way. Not only getting recognized, but also honing your craft, right? Like, was it hard work getting this shot? I guess no, but I mean, I had to take the effort to climb up this damn mountain to get this shot, right? That Milky Way shot, this shot right here that I just got down in Florida. Let me bring it up. This shot that I just got in Florida over the ocean. I mean, I got this shot at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, right? So I had to I had to figure out where the Milky Way was going to be, get my settings down, and go out there and do this. So I guess what I'm saying is hard, to hone your craft, to get better, to get recognized. It kind of goes hand in hand with hard work. The next one is connecting. LinkedIn, connect with me, connect with anybody that you might know. And you might think that you're being annoying, but sometimes that's the only way to get recognized. I mean, I'm getting a little off track from the 3D. I'm getting way off track, but interacting with you is great. This is why I want to stream, is to be able to do this kind of stuff. Quick story on how I got NFL Films. I was working at Fox Sports editing a feature, and the reporter I was working with used to live in Kansas City, used to work in Kansas City. He, hi, how are you? Yeah, you can come say hi. Say hi.
Hi, everyone.
There's not many people in here, but we're building. See, Vince likes him, which is I'm happy Vince likes it. Vince is right here. He's watching. Oh, there's Brandon.
It's Brandon. Hi,
He
Brandon.
ran. You know who Brandon is. Okay. So back to my story. So I wonder if I could do this. Let me see if I can get my hotkey. Okay. So I'm editing, and he's like, "Oh, my friend Andy, Andy's awesome, by the way, just got a job with NFL Films." This is back circa like 2011. And I'm like, "Wait, he just got a job with NFL Films?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Can you give me his contact information? Because I need to call him." So, Vince, this is what I'm talking about, right? Getting out there, taking chances, even if it's being annoying. Like, Andy had no idea who the hell I was at the time. But I'm like, wait a minute, I need his contact. So he gave me his number. That day, I called him and I talked to him. Andy was great. Andy gave me the head of cinematography at NFL Films, which was Hank at the time. And from there, I emailed Hank. Didn't hear from him. About a week later, I emailed him again. I didn't hear from him. Then another week went by. I emailed him again. Didn't hear from him. This probably went on for probably like 3 months. So I was like, okay. I then sat down and I emailed him every day for a week. That next week, he gets a hold of me, almost like he never got any of my emails. Which, look, these guys are busy. They're probably getting emails all the time. But the only way for me to get recognized was to be persistent, right? And he's like, "Hey, got your email. I would love to, see what you can do. Send me your tape." And that was when we had tapes. So I sent him my tape, which was, back when I worked up at East Lansing at Michigan State. I worked covering Michigan State football. We did shoot Lions and stuff like that. A lot of high school. So I already had a tape made. Sent it to him, and he emailed me back. Once he eventually got it, he said he loved it. "I'd love to have you come out and train." So now it's like, oh, this is great. But I had to buy. I had no money really. I mean, we had money, but not. I mean, I was still trying to prove myself at that point, 2011. So I had to buy a plane ticket, go to NFL Films in New Jersey, train there. It was unbelievable. I could come in, I get a tour, Steve Sable's office. Unfortunately, I didn't get to meet him before he passed away, but I got to see his office, went to the camera room, see all this equipment. They taught me how, and what's funny about this is I had never used film in my life. And they taught me how to load film, how to use the cameras. I did some test shots. The next day, because I was there for 2 days, and yes, Brandon, I was scared shitless. I was so scared. I was scared I was going to mess something up. I was scared I was going to be an idiot. The next day I came in, he's like, okay, we practiced a little more film loading, which was so scary. He's like, okay, I want you to go over there to those computers and I want you to sit down and I want you to watch film. So for the rest of the time there, I sat down. I had every single NFL Films game ever at my fingertips to just study. It was unreal, amazing. Got done, came home, great experience. Hank's like, hey, I really like you. Hopefully something will open up where I can get you in. Great. At the time, I was doing in-house stuff with the Lions. I mean, this is now, Vince, this is very important. This is where things don't always go how you want them, right? I didn't hear anything. I didn't get a gig with them in 2011. 2012 came. I I talked to him. He's like, "Hey, I'll send you a camera. We'll do a tryout for a preseason game." I'm like, "Sweet, this is it. This is my chance." I got the camera, and this is to Brandon's point. This is where I was scared shitless. I didn't have anybody helping me. I got sent a camera, and I got sent, I think it was 2 to 3 rolls of film. Again, I had only changed film there. So now here I am with a film camera, which is fine because I could shoot, but at the when you're done shooting that film, I had to go under the tent without looking and change this film. So I wasn't worried about shooting. I was worried about messing up the film. My fear was I was going to send all this back and all the film was going to be overexposed or was going to be ruined. Luckily, that didn't happen and I was able to do it. They got it back. He said, "Hey, it looked great. Still trying to find a spot for you." So here we are again, right? You get excited and then you get brought down. So that whole year went on and I didn't hear anything. Because again, they only have a certain amount of positions. And at that time, they were doing other content, but not as much as they're doing now. So then 2013 came. I got sent another camera and I did another tryout. That one went fine, went good. I didn't have any issues. He emailed me back, said, "Hey, again, love it. I'm just need to find that spot. I'm going to have you work this year." Okay. I think 3 weeks went by. I'm at a restaurant. I get a phone call. It says NFL Films. And I'm like, oh gosh. Go outside. It's Hank. Cowboys, Lions, Sunday. I need you to shoot. Awesome. Can't believe it. I'm so excited. So again, persistence, right? Even though I didn't immediately get my shot, right? I was consistent. I kept working hard. I kept honing my craft. And eventually, and sometimes some of it's luck, it happened. It opened up. Now, this is where I tell people a lot too, is once you get to a certain point, it's just as hard to stay there and maintain. So I shot that. I got to the game. I'm talking to Hank. Hank's at the game because it's a big game, the Cowboys Lions. And I'm like, "Hey, anything that you want me to do? Is there anything specific?" He's like, "Chad, shoot the game." That was what Hank told me. Shoot the game. Okay, shoot the game. Game's over. Film goes back. That next day, Monday morning, I get a call. "Hey, did great. We want you to work next week." So from that game, I worked every single week all the way to the Super Bowl, into the Super Bowl. One point I worked a Sunday, Thursday, Sunday. It was amazing. And it's funny because my dad was like, he's like, "Do they like you or do they just find a schlub that they can fly around?" And I go, "It might be a combo. They might have done it to test me." I actually think that might have been the year. It was either my first year or second year. I did a playoff game in Seattle, and then wait, no, I did a. I can't remember which way it was, but I did a game in one city on Saturday, flew out that night, and I did another playoff game on Sunday. It was amazing. I had a great time, and I'm pretty sure I nailed it because then I've kept working. So again, it's a lot about, like I said, hard work, being persistent, honing your craft, and not getting too high and too low which is really hard. And that's something that I really have issues with sometimes is, you know, I have this self-preservation trait where it's like, especially right now, like I haven't, it's killing me because right now I haven't had any scheduled shoots since March 16th. It's scary, and I'm trying to work through it the best I can, but it kills me that I'm not out creating. That's why I started these streams to try to feel like I'm putting out content to help people and hone my craft. Because again, hone my craft, not crap. Because I'm still learning. Like again, there's so much in Photoshop that I'm still trying to figure out. So I don't know if that story helped you at all. If it gave you any insight on how it works. Again, every path is going to be different. I will tell you that with NFL films now, they are doing a lot more content, so there's a lot more roles, which is good because that brings more opportunities for people. A lot of teams are doing a lot more things as well. I feel like working in sports, now in 2020, if you want to work in sports, it's probably better to get with a league or a team because these networks, it's harder um, to get in. They only have a certain amount of positions. Like Fox Sports Detroit has one full time person, so the work there is a little limited to what we can do. And you also are limited to what you can do with the teams versus if you work with the league or the team itself. But like for example, when I'm shooting NFL and I there's like an Eagles or like a Rams or Eagles coming to town or I'm there, like their video crew, they might have 6 people shooting on the same camera that I'm shooting with. So the teams are really stepping up. Yeah, it was kind of a long story, Vince. I hope it helped, but again, I think you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. And that's in that world. Photography, I still am trying to break in and get recognized in photography, which I would argue is probably even harder because everybody has a camera. There's so many creative people out there that can, do a lot of cool stuff. The one thing I get frustrated with, oh, bubbly break. The one thing I get frustrated with when it comes to photography is I'm unfortunately limited sometimes where I can take photos. And that's not to say Michigan's not a beautiful state, right? I can get some really beautiful things in Michigan. Like these shots right here just recently are from Michigan. Really cool, moody shots. This is Michigan. But there's also people. Oh, you can't see this. I'm flipping through. That's my bad. See, I'm trying to get you here. So these are in Michigan. So Michigan's beautiful, but again, I don't have mountains, right? Mountains are so beautiful. I don't have some of these vast, awesome looking, like this is Michigan, lighthouse, really good stuff. But like there's some people I know and I follow and they're awesome, but they're like at the Big Sur or they're traveling to Iceland, or there's one guy I follow on Twitter. He's a travel photographer and he gets some, I think he gets paid to do some of these trips, and he's traveling the world. So I mean, one day maybe. This is from Florida. I really like Brandon. This is the one that we edited. You saw me edit the yesterday. I really like this shot a lot. Vince, would you it's funny. Vince, excuse me, I just burped. This is one frame. If you were to see the original of this shot, because like I was telling Brandon, there's only so much the camera can see versus what our eyes see. Okay, that's where stacking photos comes in to get the dynamic range. This is kind of what my eyes saw when I looked at it through my, just without the camera. But when you put the camera up, it can't read all that dynamic range, right? So in here, I had to bring up these shadows, but because these cameras are so good now, there's like no, there's like no noise in any of this shot, And I brought these shadows up quite a bit, brought the highlights down. It's pretty amazing what you can do. Pretty amazing. Oh, here's some of the, let me show you a couple other shots from Sequoia. What's great about this shot is I completely forgot that I had this shot until I was streaming and I was going through and I'm like, wait a minute. What is this? And I just did some tweaking to it. And this shot was really all that's done to this shot is I pop clarity and some exposure right through the middle. I kind of vignetted a little bit to get your eyes to go down into that center. And that's all I really did to this shot. That's a really good question. I would probably tell you 100% yes. Yeah, I think I probably could have. I can. And actually, I'm hoping to do that at some point. Remember, I have that hard drive that broke and I need to get the files off of it. I have a bunch of photos that I really love from like 2014, 15 time that I don't have the raws anymore. And they're all on there. I'd love to go back, but I think I would. But again, that goes back. And Brandon, I think you could probably attest to this, is you're constantly, and when you're working with art, you're constantly tweaking how you do things, right? You're tweaking your knowledge, you're tweaking to what you think might look better, right? Like to your point, I could bring this raw file up probably at any time, but like say a year down the road and be like, "Oh, this is cool, but maybe my style has changed or something and I want to, you know, make it look a little different." Yeah, I mean, I think that would be interested to do. It's definitely something I would love to do. I just need to get the files. I need to get the files off that hard drive. I'm reading your off topic. I go to community college, and the only football I can shoot is the high school I went to. Would that make it harder for me? No, that would not. 100% Vince, that would not. Any football, I would even say Pee Wee football. I mean, obviously, Pee Wee is a little exaggeration, but anything that you can show following the ball, being in the right position are key. So your high school football is perfectly fine. When in my reel that I sent NFL films, I probably had a maybe 70-30 split, 60-40 between MS or college and high school. So there's nothing wrong. Yeah, and you have that too, right? Some people might not even, I think you actually have an advantage if you have stuff that you can show that you've shot football. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that experience matters, but that's not to say that just, you might be able to use, man, let's say you know how to use a camera, but you've never really shot football. Well, if you're good enough and work hard enough, you can learn how to do it. Yeah, exactly. If you're good, you're good at that point. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And so with shooting football, Vince, it's funny you say that because hockey is one of my favorite sports to shoot. It's kind of, I always tell people it's like hockey's a dance, right? It's a dance with the player and the puck. And out of most, out of all the sports, hockey is where you kind of, when you're shooting, at least when I'm shooting, I'm reading the player's body and not the puck. Now, there's times obviously you need to make sure you gotta know where the puck's at. But a lot of times it's hard to see exactly where the puck's at when you're shooting hockey. So that's where you're reading the flow of the game to know where things are going. And basketball's kind of like that. And I love shooting basketball like that as well. And there's some games in basketball where it's just like, wow, this game, the ball movement, everything's moving so smoothly. It's like a dance and it's really easy to shoot. Now sometimes you got games, and I've had plenty of them where it's the same thing happens in NFL where it just feels like it's just a little off, right? There's no flow. Those are like the worst feelings. But Yeah, hockey is awesome. Shooting through glass is tough, but I mean, it's just one of those obstacles you got to deal with. Just like when you're shooting NFL and you're out and it's pouring rain or you're in the snow and you're dealing with elements, you got to get that shot, right? I mean, perfect. A great story of that is I was Steelers at Bengals playoffs. It was pouring rain. I was sick all day. I felt like crap. I'm shooting. I had an issue with my eyepiece because of the rain. My eyepiece went out. I couldn't see anything. I had to bring it inside. This is during the game. I had to bring it in the tunnel. I was troubleshooting in the moment. I got it to work. I think it was like a maybe bringing off the battery. I don't know what I did, to be honest with you. But I came back out in the pouring rain. So all that shit's happening, right? Rain. I don't feel good. The camera's broke. I got to fix it, come back out. I'm back in the rain. I'm realizing I had to do all this stuff in a limited amount of time because the team was, I think the Bengals were driving at the time. Come out there, I see where they're at, I get in my spot immediately, touchdown. Look back, shot it perfect. AJ Green in the back of the end zone. So like that's something that's where people get separated, right? Where it's one thing to be able to shoot, but what do you do when the chips aren't where you want them to be, right? So another example is I tell young people all the time, like lighting sit down interviews, hard to do, but I would expect with some training, someone to go into a locker room with lights, staged area, and to be able to do something and it look nice. I'm not too impressed with that. What I'm impressed with is when you have a limited amount of time, the room is not convenient to what you want. How do you make that shot look? What do you do with four white walls? What can you do with it? That is what impresses me, and that's what separates people. Now, unfortunately, nowadays a lot of companies for some reason don't are losing the grasp of, appreciating quality and that might be money and whatnot, but now I'm starting to get on a tangent. No, I mean, I you have to use an eyepiece when you shoot football because you're gonna have that camera on your shoulder. You have your eyepiece right there. I mean, I guess you could do the screen, but you're not going to be as accurate in terms of nailing focus and following the ball. It'd be too hard. So that's definitely something you're going to want to practice is shooting through the eyepiece. But that's nothing. It's something you can't learn. And that's not to say how you've been doing is wrong. Okay, I want to make it very clear. There are times where on different projects I've used a monitor. Monitors are great, but there's situations where you can't use a monitor. And like shooting football would be one of those times where you want your eye on the eyepiece, 100%. 100%. So here's a couple more. I'm off track from the 3D tours, but that's fine because this has been good conversation. So this is another one that was I originally liked it because of the contrast here, and I love the moon. And really all I did was I think I just painted in some clarity to pop the mountain because it was a little washed out because of the sun and where the sun was at. I think I might have dehazed it a little bit, but again, pretty simple edits. There's nothing too crazy. Yeah, and it's again, it's nothing you can't learn. A couple other versions. This is all from that same spot. This is actually not. I don't remember. This is somewhere either Kings Canyon or Sequoia. I can't put a finger on exactly where that was at. But this is from that sunset spot. Just another angle. Actually, I think this is where I left my daughter, right on this rock. Well, she wasn't on the rock. There's a walkway right here, but you get what Other version. Another version like a silhouette. This is the one that's on the background. Loved the haziness in the mountains. And this is what I was talking about to Brandon when I was doing this edit, was knowing where the contrast is and not pushing it. Like these are silhouetted for a reason, and I have no reason to bring up these shots. We know that these are mountains. I don't need details. I want people looking here, right? Yeah, I did leave her. I felt so bad. But at the time, I was like bloodlusting for this shot, and it looks great. It looks great. What time is it? 3:14. Okay, we have time. Let's bring up this tour. I'm gonna bring up the tour thing really quick. And don't ever say sorry about being off topic, because I want to do these streams. I want to be talking to people. I want to have conversations. I think that's the whole point. This thing's loading. Hold on a second. Bring it over here. All right, so this is the 3D Vista interface. Add media. So you can create panoramas in here through their program. I don't do that, obviously, because I'm doing it the other way through Lightroom. I'm trying to remember where I saved these. So we're just going to bring these babies in. This program's fun. Really fun to use. So once you get these in here, it's all about tweaking. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much cheaper, but the 360, I believe one of the newer versions are better. I mean, if you just Google the 360 cameras, there are a lot of good breakdowns of the quality, and I want to say the Insta ones were better at video. That's not to say you couldn't use the one I use for video. I mean, we're talking about, you know, you're really min maxing at that point, and for what you're doing, I don't really think you need to do that. Like for me, I wanted the best picture quality and not spend $3,000 at the time, because obviously the world shut down. But if you're just doing fun videos, it should be fine. So again, click on this, and there is our image, and you can see we can bring it around, float around. So this is where you want to limit the user to be able to zoom in and out, right? Like I don't want anybody going like this on a tour, right? Because that's not what it's about. I also don't want anybody going way wide, because that looks ridiculous. I want to say, I think it was 140. Yeah, I think 140 is where I had it. Start them at 140, and that's where they have to be at all times. But yeah, so the thing about the 360 tours is, with how just the camera works and how the programs work, obviously some of this stuff's going to be a little blurred just because of how it works, right? But like straight on, it's perfect, right? So people can look. There's where the tripod was. Nothing there. You can spin around. You can do a bunch of adjustments to the speed. I think I had this at 50 for the other ones. So it's not so fast. I want quality at 100. Yeah, that's why you have this. That's why you buy a program like this. Is because it's the program that converts it. So this is kind of cool. There's little things you can do. So like there's a light there, right? So I can add a couple lens flares. Yeah, a couple lens flares to it. We can do So we can do this. We can do a hotspot. So the one thing I'll do is, so the next shot is on the other side. It's like in front of this bench. So we can go here to hotspot. So the camera is going to need to move. You're going to want somebody to be able to click on something to get them here. Okay. So you could put something on like here to click on, but that might kind of get in the way. Maybe the best situation for this is to put something right on the ground pointing that way. Yeah, I mean, so what I like about this program is when you export, there's an export option to go to Google Maps, and that's a whole another process. It's not like when I did mine, it wasn't hard. Like when you go to Schwartzy Photos on Google, it's on there. So if I go here, I forget how you do how the hell do you do? Oh, so you come down, Street View, there. So this is from the program. Of course, it's being weird right now. This is not what it was. There we go. Wait, what is this like box here? So now I'm being stupid. I think it's that. Hold on a second. Let me get out of this. Turn that off. See, now I'm getting pissed off because I just looked at this other day and it was fine. Okay, so for some reason, so here it is. So I can go in. Yeah, there we go. It's a little different on Street View, but you can so the branded Barbie, I can set it up so when they go to her Google, like they search her, I can put that on there. So I give basically what I do is I give these files once I export, I give it to Brandon, and Brandon does all the hard work about putting on the server and giving me a link to give them a link so they can put it on their website, they can put it on social media and whatnot. So here for hotspots, we will go to image. I like the animated ones. We'll do floor rotated. I don't want that one. I like the circle. I think I like. Which one did I like the best? Sometimes it's trial and error to figure out which way yeah, so something like that. So they'll click on that and that'll move them there. So the key though to this is once I have that there, I have to give it an action. I want it to open. I want it to go to this shot. Select. I usually do same spot because I don't want the camera moving. On click, done. So here, so you have to connect these, right? So if I just do this now and I preview it, you can go here, but once you get here, there's going to be no other way to go. You can't go anywhere else because there's no other hotspots on these other ones. from this shot, how I have it had set, well, oh my gosh, with how I have it set up, I can't go outside because there's nothing there to take me. Okay, so now here I want it on the door. So we're going to go to animated. We're going to go to wall. And we're going to do, no, yes. We're going to do this one. Well, which one do I want to do? Yeah, I like this one. Done. And then we'll put it right there. And then we'll add action, open, and we want it to go here. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So now we're going to preview this. I'm going to show you because I don't have all the hotspots connected on the other ones. Once I get to the next scene, I won't be able to go anywhere else. That's another thing. Don't, the wording is not right because I haven't changed any of it. This is where I would change and put her name. But you can see there's my lens flares from the light. Okay. And there's my thing on the floor to move. I might make that a little bigger now that I see it. And there's the one on the door. But you're going to see I go out, which is great. But what's the problem here? I can't go anywhere else. I have nowhere else to go. Now I'm stuck. It's the same thing if I would have went to the other one. So now what you do is we go, let's just do the outside one. So now we're outside. This one's super easy because we only have one more place to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this one. I already have this one done. I'm going to copy it. Control C. I'm going to go here. I'm just going to paste it. There it is. I'm going to bring it over. I'm going to put it right here on the door. I'm going to get rid of the action that was pasted. Add action. Open. And we're going back. Make sure you're picking the right one because we want to go back into the front door. Select it. Same spot. And now you'll see, if we preview, for some reason the tour is going on the other screen. So now we're here. We go out the door. We're here. But now we have a place to go back inside. Okay? Now you're going to see again, I'm going to click on this. We're here, but what happens? I don't have this connected, so I can't. And this is why I really like this. I think this is fun because it's almost like a video game to me. So now here's another key thing to do is I want to place where I want it to begin. So when I clicked on it, it was like a weird spot, right? So I'm gonna make it. I don't care about looking the other way. I want to make it start. Let's just go right there. And also I need to change these, right? To 140. Okay. So now that I've done that, we're going to have it start. Maybe tilt it up a little bit so you can see it. No, let's go down. I don't care about the studio. Let's see the door. Let's go right about there. So then there's this little button, set view as initial point. Okay. We'll go here and we'll do the same thing, but we'll go right about there. Set view as initial point. I'm going to go back to this and make sure the quality's up. So now okay, I think we can play. I mean, I'm just at this point, I just wanted to get it on stream of how this all kind of works. So now you can see when I go out, it should, if I did this correctly, it should show the door when I go out. And it did not. But that's why we trial and error, right? That's why we try to figure things out. So I think this is where I'm still learning because I haven't done this a ton. So now I'm trying to figure out why that happens. Why that's where I want it. And that's where it should go. And it's going to piss me off now that it's not going to do it. I don't think Brandon has it yet. I've been telling him we should try it. Again, we have a place to go back. Go here. But you can see, again, this isn't done. So, Brandon, if you want to play, we can play. I just want to save this. I'm cool with playing for a bit. I think we have to leave about 5. So Brandon, let me go take a bio really quick. And I'll call you and we can play. Sound good? Okay, let me take a bio really quick. Vince, thanks for all the questions, man. I hope you learned something. I'm gonna try to do more of this stuff. If there's anything, I know you mentioned video. If there's anything that you would want to talk about or want me to talk about, I'm more than welcome to doing it. So I'll be right back. I'm gonna take a bio. I'll be right back.